This is my walkthrough of the new and updated Peril level. The player starts here facing the door forward. There's nothing on the sides, therefore logic suggests that the player has to go forward. There's nowhere else to go. Here the player is introduced to the combat with three small crabs. They're easy to kill and quite simple. We have a new type of ammunition that is not compatible with the pistol, which would suggest that we're going to get a weapon soon. Um, Once we walk through this door, there's two options. So you see a red key there, and if you want to avoid that area, you'll soon be faced with a door, which is locked by the red key. So you need to go back and take it. However, you do get a gun. Now, whether you want to first come and get the key card or try and open the door first, it doesn't really matter the player. It's up to the player. I try to enable freedom of playstyle in my level. In the previous version, this was not as the room was not as big. I tried to upscale it. Here you take the card to collect the red key card. However, you have to dodge these traps. Um, I believe that having these traps here provides a bit more understanding of how they work for a later stage. Here you have more ammunition, which the player can come and explore after killing these enemies, which will attack you as soon as you enter this room. After obtaining the key card, you will enter through this door. You'll immediately be faced with four small crabs and one large one, which will immediately start to shoot projectiles. Um, to indicate goals and different um, objectives, I have used lights to indicate where the weapons are. For example, here quite clearly you can see the weapon, and it's a point of interest to the player. Therefore, they will try and get it. And here you have the ammo for it. So once you get the blue key card and you deal with all the enemies, you go through this door. Now, earlier you could see the introduction to the trap. Now here, this is where the trap is utilized further, where you have to dodge and obtain different ammo. However, players will, if they want to obtain it is more of a um, secondary objective rather than a main objective. But if the players would like to get a gun, here they will be faced with two enemies, one being the crab, and a new type of enemy, which is the skull. Now, the skull jumps straight at the player, so when the skull jumps towards the player, they will. It's essentially works as a jump scare. Now, after dealing with them, when they go through here, there is a skeleton here which will jump straight into the player out of sight. That will provide intensity, which is what which is what I'm going for in this level. There's another one here and a third one over here. Now, the area makes it difficult for the player to traverse, uh, but but the level provides health and ammo, and they need to get this green key card, which is for the door here to progress. Now, once they've done this and they've gotten the key card and dealt with the enemies, they will proceed to jump on this balcony, get the weapon. Now, here there is a trigger which will activate new enemies, but which are more difficult. That's why I've put a checkpoint over here. So there will be multiple enemies in this area, which the best way to kill them is with the new weapon, as the pillars will allow the rockets, the projectiles from the rocket launcher to bounce off of these walls and hit the targets. One of them being a guardian. A guardian is a type of enemy that does not move. It is, and then after obtaining and zombies, which are very immobile. After defeating these new enemies, the players will go back The reason why I did this is so that instead of just having to backtrack, there is bi-directional gameplay, which allows a new experience using the same path. After obtaining this new weapon, they will come here and gain more ammo for each of their weapons, and the new weapon being the plasma gun. At this point, the players will have a choice between 3 weapons and a pistol, or the pistol. It is up to the player on how they want to play the next stage. The checkpoint, if they were to enter this room, which will spawn 2 gun crabs, 1 skeleton, and 2 crabs. Um, Once they enter this room, they will, if they die, they will be able to change their weapons. If they don't, then that fits their playstyle. However, once they complete this area, they will not be able to change their weapons. Um, Once complete this area, I made it so spacious to use. I wanted to emphasize that it's an arena and that there's going to be enemies. When you see a big arena like this, you know there will be enemies, and it's what I've tried to explain and demonstrate in this room. Uh, the point for this room is for the player to hit the switch and open this door. However, this area, this area here, it is heavily defended, and it will make it a lot more difficult and practically impossible for the player to go straight ahead. It's possible, but not recommended. Therefore, the player must go around, killing the enemies, because this area, the enemies are more spread out and easier to kill until they get to this point, um, which they will then eventually have to kill them. However, it will be less. So after hitting the switch, the players will proceed to this room, which is guarded by a guardian. Um, they'll have ammo and health to fill out their bars and essentially restock on everything. There is enough shells and there is enough shells and rocket bombs for the next encounter, which is the boss. Now, the boss is a skull boss, and throughout the level there is 2 crabs. The point for them is they slow down the player. So when one of the mechanics for the skull boss is to spawn skull guys. And the skull guys will jump at the player. However, the crab here, if the player does not deal with them before the boss casts his spawn mechanic, it will be very difficult for the player to deal with them as they slow you down and they cast bombs at you. So this provides more of a challenge, and it's not as simple as kill them and that's it. I decided to keep the area without walls simply because I believe it's more aesthetically pleasing to fight, at sunset, as if which demonstrates that the level is ending. Um, but yeah, once they complete this door will open. Once they defeat the final boss, this door will open, and they can hit the switch and pass and leave the game. This was my fly through of my Peril level. My name is Svetomir Tsvetkov, student number T014281K.